my name is Luna, and I'm here to catch you up on everything that happened in episode 115 of Campaign 3 of Critical Role, To the Arx Creonum. I don't know about all of you, but this episode gave me emotional whiplash. I'll be breaking down some references, so please be aware that there are Campaign 2 spoilers. After the epic Vox Machina interlude, we are back on Ruidus with Bells, Hells, and the Mighty Nine, and of course the group discuss the most important thing, Ford's nipples.
Yeah, I don't
Pretty
understand
tight as well, we get the idea.
how your nips aren't like cutting your shirt.
Well, she custom ordered this, so it's got silk on the inside. It's actually very chilly.
Yeah, he says his nipples get chafed really easily,
Yeah,
so I had to
probably
give him
like-
a sensitive material.
Bells Hells tell the Mighty Nine what they know about the Weave Mind. There are 5 of them, they have psychic powers that allow them to project themselves and inhabit Ruidusborn, and other generally scary, powerful psychic mage stuff. Caleb asks Bells Hells what their plan is with Predathos, and of course they are still undecided, saying that they do plan to kill Ludinus, but they could try and kill Predathos, they might channel its power, or they might release it and let it eat or chase away the gods. Laudna says they need to play things by ear because they don't know what they're going to face when they get there, which is true. Veth says that the gods have done a lot for the Mighty Nine, which is true. The Nine has a lot more ties to the gods than the Hells do. Yasha has been blessed by the Stormlord Cord.
He's pulled me out of what literally felt like the depths of hell, so I owe him my life.
Ford, who lost his magical abilities when he refused to do the Leviathan demigod Ukutoa's bidding, became a paladin of the Wild Mother.
The womb I grant, but withers without faith. His will shall find you again soon. The eyes open, and light like an orange sunset pour over you, through you, lulling you slowly back to sleep. His will shall find you again. But until it does, rest.
Ford found his faith thanks to the guidance of Caduceus, who is a cleric of the Wild Mother, a calling that his family has followed for generations. The Clay family also has close ties to the Archheart and the Matron of Ravens, because according to family legend, the day after the Matron ascended in the Age of Arcanum, she tasked 3 heroes, Clay, Stone, and Dust, with recovering the body of a champion. The body was split into 3, and following guidance from the Matron of Ravens and the Wild Mother, it was placed in the Savalier Wood, or the skull part of it, where the blooming grove would later grow, as a gift from the Wild Mother to the Archheart. So, those 3 gods are all interconnected, which is such a fun bit of world building that came, well before what we see in the events of Downfall, where those gods worked very closely together. Laudna and Imogen tell them about the Archheart's proposal to chase the gods away, and most of the 9 are not really keen on the idea, or at least feel that they don't really have any say in what the gods should do, but Jester is immediately on board because she thinks that her patron, the Traveller, will become much more powerful without the other gods around. This is probably true. The Traveller is an archfey who became a minor deity thanks to the devotion of Jester. Her belief in him granted him godlike powers, which he was then able to bestow upon her as a cleric. Jester began spreading the word of the Traveller to recruit him more followers, but as his flock grew, the Traveller became overwhelmed at the duties and responsibilities of being a god and asked Jester to help him. She planned a big event called TravellerCon, where they could gather all of the Traveller's followers in one spot and tell them that he is actually an avatar of the Moonweaver, so that they would then move their worship on to her. However, during the event, the Moonweaver sent an actual celestial figure to denounce him as a fraud and punish him. He would have been dragged back to the Feywild and, held in judgment for his crimes, if not for Jester refusing to let him go and pleading with the angel.
Why do you cry for this selfish creature?
Because I love him.
So without the gods around to punish him, the Traveller could probably become an actual god, but, I think in this moment Jester has forgotten or just doesn't care that he doesn't want to be a god. The conversation turns to Ludinus, and Caleb and Bo in particular emphasize how powerful and dangerous he is and how important it is to take him out first. The Hells say that they are more than capable of doing so since they have already fought 2 Snowcone Ludinuses.
So you're feeling confident because you've fought 2 snowmen?
100%.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Caduceus.
I've beaten a lot of snowmen in my life.
It's wild when
Really?
Caduceus is the bitchy one. I just want to point that out.
Hi. Do you want to fight a snowman?
Okay, That was a good one. There is a bit of friendly rivalry between the two groups, mainly instigated by Fern and Chetney, about how Bell's Hells are the ones who have been picked to face the final boss, but the reality is that the Nine don't have any Rubitus spawn in their group, so it does have to be the Hells, even though the Nine are probably more qualified, something which Imogen and Bo acknowledge. Plus, it's just a classic trope of, the very powerful, amazing heroes can't do it for XYZ, so it has to be the plucky newbies that has been in so many stories before. Meanwhile, as they talk about going into battle with their dicks out, the leader of the Volition, Rashina, and Gaz, everyone's favourite juggernaut, step into the room. Rashina says the Volition has been preparing a large amount of explosives that have been spread to different locations in the city, and when the time comes, she will be leading a team of demolition experts who will use a grappling cannon to attach cables to the outside of the prime pillar, which they will then ride up using psychically powered harnesses to blow a huge hole in the pillar. Veth shows a lot of interest in the demolition team, saying she can help out with making things go boom, and to demonstrate her prowess with alchemy, she makes some slime.
It feels so good when you're stressed. You can just do this and run it through your fingers.
Gaz immediately reaches out and grabs and goes, I want to try.
Go ahead.
You can make a lot of money off of
Oh, wow.
Think about it.
Can I just say, I hate slime. My kid is always being given it for birthdays, and it just gets sticky, and it gets everywhere, and it gets dirt and dust stuck in it, and just it is not a sensory thing that I enjoy. While Veth didn't actually make anything useful here, she is indeed adept at alchemy, something that she was taught by her husband Yeza, and the two now run an alchemy shop. They anticipate having to get the operation underway fairly soon, so Caduceus pulls out a teapot and some tea so they can all share a moment together, acknowledging that this might be the last time they see each other. Bo looks to Dorian and tells him that he should make a toast.
To new friends and old. To a quiet moment before the storm. And to those of us who've just met, and those we hope to see again very soon. Please don't die down the hatch.
Please don't die!
Yeah.
Yes, please don't die. I would like it if nobody died. Breas asks Chetney if he would consider giving him an RTA tattoo, recognize the Alpha or actually Rexington Tory authority, and Ashton decides that they want one too. Jester has tattoo equipment and says that she can do it, but Chetney insists on using his chisel, so Chetney does Breas with his chisel and Jester uses her needle on Ashton's stony skin. I feel like if it was the other way around, that would have been better.
That tickles.
This is our show.
Meanwhile, Dorian speaks with Caleb, thanking him for his kindness, and later Imogen says the same. And I don't know, it just gave me really warm, fuzzy feelings seeing Caleb recognized for his kindness and sort of stepping into, I guess, a bit of a leader role. He's just come so far since the beginning of Campaign 1, in which he was still, so close to the trauma that he faced under Trent Ikathon, who was another member of the Cerberus Assembly and ultimate douchebag. Laudner checks in with Imogen, encouraging her to follow her gut and, making sure she doesn't feel forced to do anything that she doesn't want to. She even says that they could, teleport out of here, but Imogen just says there's no possibility that they can do that. They're too far in. Despite things feeling a little hopeless, the two look to the future.
But I do still think of that cozy cottage at the end of all of this.
Me too.
The gods never had much effect on our lives before, and I don't see them having much after.
We'll find that cottage, all right? At the end of this?
Just promise me. Promise me. You reserve the right to change your mind whichever way we want to go, up until the very bitter last moment.
All right.
I kiss her again.
Please, I need these two to settle down in a cottage together at the epilogue. I need it. Veth seeks out Yasha, who is sharpening her sword Skald Saber, a gift from Lady Kima of Vord. Veth admits that she feels guilty about fawning over Breas, and while she says that her sex life with Yeza is great, she asks Yasha for advice about how to be a better wife. And what follows is, at least 7 minutes of Matthew Mercer just dying inside.
We do all
All
kinds of fun stuff. Yeah, we do strap-ons. He spits in my mouth and pulls my hair. It's like we
Throw some things in to spice it up.
Oh, that's a thing that you can do?
Listen, I'm super into minotaurs. He is too. Well, maybe he can help you fulfill that fantasy.
No, not in a weird way.
You gotta explore.
Where's that thing? You and Bo wouldn't be open to
Veth asks if the four of them, Yasha, Bo, Yeza, and Veth, could spend some time together, but they agree to table the conversation for later. This all leads to Bo and Yasha talking about their ongoing desire to adopt some kids, which is something that they have been talking about since the end of Campaign 2, but haven't felt like they've had the time or the space for. But Bo says if they get through this, then they should do it. Meanwhile, Jester tells Ford of her plans for the wedding, pink and dark pink for the colours, and the lavish chateau or Rumblecusp for the location. Rumblecusp is where Travelicon happened, by the way. Bo asks Ford if she can be the best man.
Can I be your best man? Do you have a best man?
Just have a carrot, something to look forward to.
Wait, what were you gonna ask?
Exactly. Did you just?
Do you want me to be your maid of honor? I can be both.
No, there's lots of other people. If you want to be his best man, then that's fine.
I don't know. I figured you would probably ask Beth. I thought you were kind of close.
Well, I thought we all were gonna be the best men.
We could all be best men.
Okay.
The Chaos Crew should be your, bridal party, right?
I actually like that.
Yeah, but Bo, I was.
We'll table this. I didn't mean to make it weird.
This was so awkward, and I have to tell my own awkward best man story here. So when Jared and I got engaged, Jared planned to ask his best friend, to be his best man, and I've been trying to find the right time, and we went to a house party with said friend, and after quite a few drinks, he leaned over to Jared and was like, "Oh God, please don't ask me to be your best man. I don't want to do it. Please don't ask me." So funny. Anyway, he did end up being our best man. He just didn't want to make a speech, but we didn't really do speeches at our wedding anyway. So yeah, it's actually our 10-year wedding anniversary this week. Hold on, I'm going to put a picture. Look at us. Look at us babies 10 years ago. Oh. Anyway, sorry about that. Fern asks Ford if he is hesitant about getting married, and he says he is just preoccupied by the impending mission, and I think he's also just feeling a little overwhelmed by Jester's enthusiasm. Laudna asks Breyas if she could have the Matron of Raven's mask, an item that was very clearly intended for her, but he is reluctant to hand it over as he hasn't had a chance to pray over it yet. So the two of them pray together.
Oh, Matron of Raven.
Oh, Matron of Ravens, can you hear us?
Can you hear
us? Can you give us a sign of guidance? Anything.
Be here in our moment of need.
As they pray, Imogen uses a telekinetic shove to push the mask into Laudna's hand, which she interprets as a sign that the matron wants her to have it. It's so funny to me how Breyas wanted to pray over it. They just met her. They met the matron. What does he want to pray over it for? Maybe he just wants a private audience. Breyas has been doing a lot of shopping around for gods, and it makes me wonder if, despite pledging a long-time allegiance to Asmodeus, if, maybe he's actually jumped between lots of gods ever since leaving the Platinum Dragon, trying to find the right one, but not realizing that what he was searching for was inside himself all along. Well, polyamory and wedding conversations done, Rashina returns and says that it's time to leave. As Bells Hells and the Mighty Nine say their goodbyes, Caduceus asks them that whatever they do, just do what feels kind. Jester apologizes to Breyas again for what happened, and he seems to have forgiven her. Breyas says that he is glad to be here with friends, and they tell him that he's one of Bells Hells now. Orym then hurriedly pulls Dorian aside.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if we have 12 hours or 24 hours or no hours. I'm gonna kiss you now. Can I kiss you?
Oh, shit. Yes.
Grab the sheer shirt and pull him in and give a nice long
Not
kiss.
the chaff-on.
And and forget everything, all the problems, everything for 10 seconds. If we're here tomorrow, I'd really like to figure out this. If you want.
All I want. I'm gonna kiss him back.
Oh. Yeah.
I've been waiting for this moment for so long. Ever since the very first episode of Four-Sided Dive 2.5 years ago, when Robbie mentioned that Dorian liked someone in Bells Hells.
He got, some romantic vibes around the table from other things, though he never really, he kept a distance at it.
Okay. I knew it was Orym, and I'm so happy that the two have finally spoken about their feelings and kissed. I also think this is just such a huge step for the both of them. Orym, because he's been grieving his husband Will for so long and had closed himself off, for such a long time from any feeling of romance or connection, and for Dorian because he has been through some really, really horrible shit, and at first his reaction was, that very human thing of putting walls up and pushing his emotions deep down. So to see them being vulnerable with each other and leaning on each other, it's just everything I ever wanted. They aren't the only lovebirds, though, as Ashton also rushes to Fern.
If we survive this, and I open up a small pouch, and it's filled with weird-ass mushrooms, I stole this off the weird cow one. Would you take half of these with me and see whatever the fuck happens?
I absolutely will.
You're the fucking best.
I can't even believe that you chose me for this fun adventure.
Who else? Honestly, I would do any fucking stupid thing you were ever down for.
Amazing.
Promise?
Yeah, I like you, and I'm bad at this because I don't think about the future ever, but like...
I don't either.
You're fun to adventure with.
You're fun to adventure with, too.
I love that this is their relationship, just doing fun, stupid shit together. I feel like they're just going to be the messiest couple in such a good way. I don't really anticipate them being in like a, very serious long-term, definitely not monogamous relationship, but I don't know. I just feel like they're going to be best friends and lovers who sort of stick by each other, but, explore other relationships and just generally be there. I don't know. I love that for them. Well, I'm glad we got some nice stuff in there because what we have now is one of the most shocking and horrifying scenes in Campaign 3, at least in my opinion. As they are gathering their things to leave, Imogen finds herself once again in a vision of a red storm greater than any she has been in before. She hears her mother, Liliana, screaming out her name in fear and panic and sees her shadow whipping around her in the storm. Imogen reaches out and grabs her. Liliana says that she has tried to convince Ludinus, but he knows that she's been working against him.
What is he gonna do?
You catch a glimmer of the back of her feet, the tips of her toes slowly starting to crumble away.
Oh my God. No, Mama!
Stop him.
No!
Stop him.
Don't do it.
It hurts.
Oh, Mama! I can't stop it.
I don't know what's happening.
Can I pull her closer to me?
You pull her close.
And I just want to hold her as tight as I can.
You hold her. Make a perception check.
Oh,
my God.
Fuck. 14.
14. You make out in this storm the outer flashes of shadows, of multiple figures standing around her. Ryloran shapes, humanoid shapes, all focused on her, holding her there with their minds. And you just see the back of a figure facing away from her. Long hair, and what looks to be a faintly glowing funnel facing
No!
her.
No!
Oh,
No!
no.
No! No!
She goes, stop him. No matter what happens, stop him.
No! No!
There's a flash of intense energy and a pain that strikes to your mind. And we're gonna go to break.
Oh, I've had enough of this dude.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Brutal.
Oh, no.
And we'll return here, picking up with Mighty Nine's side of the assault.
What the fuck, Matthew Mercer? I was cheekily watching this episode at work and I had to take a break so I could just go outside and pace around for like 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know, that scene just shocked me so much. Okay, let's break down what's happening here. So Ludinus has clearly made another harness, which of course he has. I don't know why I was shocked, because of course he would have made another one. And in hindsight, it makes so much sense for him to be sucking up exaltants, because I think that there is no way Liliana is the first one to befall this fate. Firstly, Ludinus wants more power. I don't think there is any limit to how much power he wants. So of course he's going to use this device on more magical beings. And secondly, it's been implied multiple times that Ludinus covets the connection and the abilities that Ruidusborn have. And I think it's quite likely that by sucking up exaltants, some of those abilities are going to transfer to him, just as we've seen, the abilities of magical items transfer to the Hells when they've done it. If an exaltant is the only one who can take in and potentially channel Predathos' power, perhaps sucking in enough exaltants will allow Ludinus to be the one to do that. He can try and claim that power for himself. He might even try sucking up Predathos with the harness, I don't know. I do wonder if this is showing us a bit the end game. I've talked before about how I just don't think that the Hells have the ability to destroy Predathos, but perhaps if Ludinus takes it in, they can destroy him and Predathos along with him. The idea, though, of a Predathos-infused Ludinus fight for level 14 characters is terrifying. Let me know your thoughts about what this means for Ludinus and the end game of, this campaign in the comments. I'm really keen to read your ideas. I feel like it just opens up a lot of possibilities. I thought Liliana was dead in this scene, but I forgot and was reminded in the cooldown episode that it takes about an hour to suck in the power of a being, so there is still a chance to get to her before it is completed. This means that we have a real ticking time bomb situation that is going to propel the Hells quickly to the hallowed cage. Oh, also in the cooldown, Matt confirmed that all the mystery rolls that he's been having Laura make were Liliana's deception checks to hold off Ludinus. She'd been telling him that she couldn't work out how to get the occultist thalamus hooked up to the ley lines, but the longer it went on, the more suspicious he became and the higher those DCs got. It also is probably a good way to kind of force Imogen to take some character growth and potentially embrace her own exultant power. I've really come around on Liliana, not as a person necessarily, but just like as an interesting character. Yeah, at first I didn't want her to have any kind of redemption arc, because at the end of the day, she abandoned her daughter, she sided with an evil mastermind. Sure, a very charismatic and persuasive evil mastermind. But Liliana has aided him to do some truly terrible things, and the fact that it took her daughter to be involved for her to start questioning it, it just doesn't really lend her much redemption possibility in my mind. But I love a messy villain, and I love that maybe her redemption is going to be too little too late, which I think would actually be a pretty fitting end for her. And I don't know, there's just something so compelling for me about messy parent-kid relationships. I've recently been watching season 1 of Arcane again, and there's a line that Silco says that kind of reminds me of Liliana.
Is there anything so endearing as a daughter?
Ugh, that rips my heart open every single time. Best line in the show. I love Silco so much. I would love to hear your thoughts about Liliana. Do you think she has done enough to earn forgiveness or redemption? Do you want to see her live through this and be reunited with Imogen? Let me know. I gotta take my hat off to Laura Bailey, just acting the shit out of that moment. Her fear and panic was so real. I just feel so bad for her that this is where we left Belle's Hells, and she's gonna have to jump straight back into that distress when we see them again, and to go from that to Jester, full-on whiplash. So after the break, we are back with the Mighty Nine, minus one Robbie Daymond, and plus one new art of Veth Bernardo, which looks very cool. Once again, they haven't released the full image yet, at least not at the time of my recording this, but we can sort of see it on the giant flask, which says Nottogo. Veth would be a chapel girly. The party makes their way through Kravirus with Gaz and Rashina, still under the effects of Caleb's seeming spell. Most of the population of Kravirus is currently leaving the city, so they draw some attention from some guards as they move against the flow into the city. Rashina slips away as she might be recognized by them, leaving Caleb to attempt to persuade them that they're on Weavemind business with his ring of telepathy. Caduceus, though, intuits that they didn't buy it, so Jester casts Invoke Duplicity, sending her duplicates rushing in different directions to throw the guards off their tail. They eventually arrive at the Zoku Belfry and look out over the Arx Creonum, a structure built into and against the Prime Pillar, which Matt described as what a castle looks like when it is built by people who have only dreamed of them. The demolition team are busy setting up the explosive cable cannon, and Caleb hears a message from Laura informing him that it's go time. The grapple cannons are fired and the cables shoot out over the city and attach to the Arx Creonum. The demolition team zip up the cables using psychically powered harnesses, and Veth casts Spider Climb on herself and runs up the cable as fast as she can, betting Bo that she can do it the fastest. At the top, the demolition team quickly deploys their payload and takes cover behind a stone pillar before they light it up.
These explosions just detonate and reverberate throughout the entirety of this cavernous chamber. The open space here itself is just a closed echo chamber. And so the explosive sounds reverberate and continue to bounce around. The rest of you below can see these incredible, bright, green-blue explosions of flame and arcane power just flashing outward before dissipating into a soft mist. But in the moment after these explosions go off, you can feel the collective air of the city kind of pause for a moment, as there is now just this an entire, probably a good third of the front of the Arx Creonum cracks up in multiple places, and then
Whoa.
begins to just slide off the prime pillar.
With a giant hole in the prime pillar, the Mighty Nine, along with Gaz, zip up the cables as well. Caduceus, Jester, and Yasha use a psychic harness pushed by Gaz, and Ford casts Fly using his sword Star Razor, a vestige of Divergence that was broken in two and its pieces scattered until they were found by the Mighty Nine and reforged in Utherdurn. Caleb casts Polymorph, turning into a giant eagle, and Bo does some dope monk shit and runs up the cable. She races up, clearly going to beat Veth's time, so Veth, being the petty little bitch she is, said with affection, casts Shocking Grasp on the cable. Bo manages to avoid the lightning as it streaks along the cable by surfing on her magical staff.
And as you catch the end of the cable, you grapple onto the wall with just your monk fingers, like you can do.
I just look at Veth, and we're just gonna take 2 of my fingers and just jab her right in the rib to just knock the wind out of her.
He's just like,
you cheated! How did I cheat? You used a weapon! You cheated by trying to electrocute me, you bitch!
It was a storm!
What do you mean? We are underground on the fucking moon!
As the rest of the group make their way up, the Imperium shoots projectiles at them and a spear hits the belt attaching Jester to the cable. Yasha reaches for her, but with a natural one she misses, so Ford swoops in and catches her. Yasha's harness also begins to come undone, and with another natural one, she starts plummeting. Caleb, in his eagle form, flies after her and catches her just before she hits the ground. Taliesin rolls for the next round, and you guessed it, it's another natural one. So Caduceus' harness breaks also, and he plummets before Jester reaches out and casts Polymorph, turning him into a giant beetle with a Caduceus face. This is a serious game, you guys. They finally make it to the Prime Pillar, where they are greeted by a group of Weavemind defenders, and we roll initiative. As always, there is an extremely cool map, and it was fun seeing the Mighty Nine fight again with some of their signature moves, like Bo's Pop Pops, Caleb incinerating someone with fire, and Ford's Eldritch Blast. It's funny, we say blast here, but every time I say the spell, I have to say Eldritch Blast. Just been totally ruined by Cowboy Ford. Not a lot of crazy stuff happened in this fight, although we did see some new fighters in this battle, like the Blade Baron, who conjured flying swords around themselves, and the Cannoneers, who fired pieces of glass and metal from psychic cannons. But probably my favorite part was Gaz.
All right. You guys go, I'll cover your rear. Blades in front.
Yeah!
Don't worry.
Sexy Gaz.
I'll catch up.
He's not a hear me out.
Let me just,
He's just a yes.
Let me just finish off some of these, some of these bad fellas.
Oh, yeah, Gazzy.
Ow! Are you sure this is serious?
Turn around for us, Matt. Turn around for us.
Come on, Gazzy.
Don't worry.
So as the Mighty Nine descend into the Prime Pillar to find the Weavemind, what new psychic horrors will they face? I'm glad we didn't get a massive combat this episode, but I anticipate it's probably going to be a pretty big one next episode, which we unfortunately do have to wait 2 weeks for due to the end of month break. But don't worry, I have got you covered with some plans to tide you over. This Tuesday, the 26th of November at 3 p.m. Pacific, I will be live on stream talking about this episode, so please stop by. It's here on YouTube and Twitch. Tell me all your thoughts and theories. And then the following Tuesday, the 4th of December at 4 p.m. Pacific, I will be holding a live stream to celebrate reaching 25,000 subscribers here on YouTube, as well as my 3-year streamiversary on Twitch. I've got lots of fun stuff planned for that stream, so please stop by and say hi. It should be a really good time. I'll post all those details on my community page, or you can jump into my Discord to see the details. There's a link in the description. Okay, that's all. Wow, I think this was a really long one. I'm gonna go lie down. Bye!
I take out my honey and I leave it for him.
He goes, looks like the world's kind to me today.
They're after your victory.